devils, one of our fellow neighborhood Edomites last night. There was a Edomite woman. They never fail. They always come through. I don't know if you guys remember last week, maybe week before last, because I was gone last week, but it was an Edomite couple that asked us to actually dance a jig. Right? Yeah. So I'm telling you, they have the same spirit. This one said, show me something in the Bible. I mean, she just came just like that. Give me your favorite scripture. I was like, the whole Bible. Come on, just give me one. Just give me one. The whole Bible. He said, why? It's my heritage. It's mine. That's why. Wow. You look at my white hair, I've been around for a long time. And I was so happy Pastor stepped in. I said, Pastor, I'm not ready to be nice. I'm just not ready to be nice yet. And he was like, I understand, no problem. And then all praises. I just say Jacob came and he had an eye and he just kept looking. So me and the brothers kept saying, it's in here, brother. Hold the Bible up. It's in here. And he said, what do you mean? Everything you see here, it's in here. But long story short, I'll tell the story. So he comes around and I said, look at this picture here, showing how they used to have a license to hunt us, right? And I even told him, I said, you can see this in Penn Oak. They have this on the wall in Penn Oak Middle School. They have this on there. And the kids walk by it every day. It's plastered all on the wall in the science department. I used to service that school, so it's posted there. So I said, it's funny that we have it there, but they have it there. But because it's predominantly white over in Penn Oak, nobody even cares. The kids don't even consider, that whole history. So he was like, that's in the Bible? He said, oh yeah, it's in the Bible. They used to hunt us, So immediately he ran to the four Gospels, but that's what Jacob does. He doesn't want to deal with his own history. And I said, well, why are you running there? We're talking about here. He said, well, what do you teach? I said, we teach the whole Bible. He said, well, I don't believe in how you guys say Yeshua or Jesus having any prophecy. I said, well, the pastor cut in again and said, well, him dying on the cross is prophecy enough. And it was foretold in the beginning that a head of Judah would die for us, right? So long story short, now the pastor's here, we dealt with this brother back in 2018. But what the awesome thing about it is he no longer subscribes to Christianity at all. Just the Torah and the Tanakh. He doesn't understand that Yahushua came in the volume of the book. That's what he doesn't understand. And it's precept, Tanakh, and in the gospel. So he doesn't understand that. So all praises that the Most High directed his path to us, but we just continue that he is led by the Most High in the Spirit to get the truth, not just partial of the history that he still doesn't understand who he is, right? So kind of.
So now, ladies and gentlemen, have you noticed what has been happening with all the statues that's been torn down all over the world? Not just in America, but all over the world. What has shocked me, and I say shock only because if we do not accept the fact that we are living in the days of prophecy fulfillment, you need to find a rock someplace and hide underneath it. Because everything that's in the scriptures is being fulfilled before our eyes. When you see the culmination of it, I call it, was when the Mormon church in Utah, their gold angel on top of their church building, with their golden flute, the flute dropped out of the hand. And they were in shock at that. Which shows you that, again, is the sign of the times. Let's break this down. We're going to go into all. Let's go to the book of Matthew. as I said, I just got so caught up with this. Matthew 24, if you please. And we're going to start at verse 7. And again, we take the opportunity to honor all our viewers who have come in the name of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. On this day of the Sabbath, we say Barakatah Yahweh, because he's doing great things among the nation of Israel and all 12 tribes to wake us up to who we are, to prepare ourselves for the gathering that he's coming together to bring us back to our home. Amen.
Amen.
Now, if we begin reading, if you please, Matthew 24, verse 7, let's read.
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 24, and verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation.
Go on.
And kingdom against kingdom.
Read.
And there shall be famines.
There shall be what?
And there shall be famines.
If you haven't already got that underlined in your Bibles, underline it.
Come.
Nations are going to come against nations. The world, as you know it, will never be the same.
That's right.
Now, in saying this, let me quickly say to some of us who are faint-hearted, let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in God, believe also in me. This is Yahushua. For in my Father's house there are many mansions. And if it was not so, I would not have told you this.
That's right.
But I go to prepare a place for you, that where I am, there you will be also.
That's right.
So don't stress out at this time.
Right.
Don't feel like you're carrying the world on your shoulders. But know this, greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world.
That's right.
Don't be troubled. Because I know that there are many, I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm carrying the world. Don't. He's already done that. All you've got to do is follow in his footsteps. And that way, you'll be all right. And so, when we read here, it says, for nations shall rise up against nations. Have we not seen that happen? And yet, it's going to get even worse. And it says, and kingdoms against kingdoms. And it says, and there shall be famines. What's the next one? Go on.
And pestilences.
And we just heard just today that the what is it?
Bubonic.
Bubonic plague is on the rise again in China.
Black Death.
Yeah.
So the scriptures is telling you ahead of time. He said this over 2,000 years ago. If that's not enough time for you to get yourself together, I don't know what is. And then he says,
and earthquakes.
And earthquakes. Don't be surprised when you feel the earth shake beneath your feet, even right here in Houston, Texas.
That's right. That's right.
You'll say, well, we've never had it.
Right.
You've never had it doesn't mean it can't happen.
Come.
He says that there will be earthquakes and what?
In diverse places.
In different places, meaning places that you commonly would hear about earthquakes are now places going to be that you've never heard an earthquake take place there before. And it will shake and cause men to begin to tremble and quiver because the hand of the Most High is upon them. Isaiah chapter 19 and verse 1. Isaiah chapter 19 and verse 1. Let's go, please.
It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 19 and verse 1. It reads, the burden of Egypt.
The burden of whom?
The burden of Egypt.
Go on.
Behold, the Most High rideth upon a swift cloud.
All right, now let's deal with that before we go a step further. Let's go to Psalms chapter 18 and verse 10. Psalms chapter 18 and verse 10. Let's read.
The book of Psalms, chapter 18 and verse 10. And he rode upon a cherub.
What did he do?
And he rode upon a cherub.
Go on.
And did fly.
And did what?
And did fly.
And did fly.
Yea, he did fly upon the wings of the wind.
You see that? It's letting you know right there and then that this will be the order of business when he returns.
That's right.
He rode upon the cherubs and did fly. The wind that gave him wings, meaning he will be in his chariot, flying, and every eye shall behold him. Let's go to Revelation chapter 14. Revelation chapter 14. There. And I believe it is 18. Yes, let's go there.
It's the book of Revelation, chapter 14, and verse 18. And another angel.
So I can drop that. Go to 14, please. 14.
Salaki.
The fathership.
Revelation, chapter 14, verse 14. And I looked, and behold, a white cloud, and upon the cloud one sat like unto the Son of Man.
There it is. Now, when it says a white cloud, it is really speaking about the chariot, the ship that he will be in. Go on.
Having on his head a golden crown.
And he will be decked out in his royal regalia. Go on.
And in his hand a sharp sickle.
A sharp sickle. So he's going to be in the fathership, riding, and he's going to come to make war with this world.
That's right.
Let's go to it. Stay in the same book. Go to 11 and 8. 11 and 8. Revelations 11 and 8.
The book of Revelation, chapter 11 and verse 8.
Read.
And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt.
Now, before you finish that, their dead bodies is us. We are the ones who are dead. Dead why? Because we have no power. Dead why? Because we cannot fight for ourselves.
That's right.
Even though there is slight insurrection in this country at the moment that's brooding, we still don't have the means to fight and to win. We can fight, of course, but will we win? And so it says, read on if you please.
Come. Where also our Father was crucified, and they of the people and kindred and tongues and nation shall see their dead bodies.
Shall do what?
Shall see their dead bodies.
Shall see their dead bodies. All right, let's drop that now. Go with me to Job 11 and 6. Job chapter 11 and verse 6.
Come. The book of Job, chapter 11 and verse 6. And that he would show thee the secrets of wisdom.
Say that again.
And that he would show thee the secrets of wisdom.
Go on.
That they are double to that which is.
So, he says he's going to show us the secret of wisdom.
That's right.
The secrets that he's going to show us, they are double to that which is. Then it says,
know therefore that God exacteth of thee less than thine iniquity deserveth.
So we, in fact, we need to kind of back that up to get better understanding, because usually when you read that, if you don't understand what it means, you'll still be a little bit vague. Go to Ezra. Ezra. When you go there, let's read chapter 9 and verse 13.
The book of Ezra, chapter 9 and verse 13. And after all that is come upon us for our evil deeds.
See? So now, this book, this verse is explaining more clearly Job 11 and 6.
Come.
Right? So read it again, sir.
Ezra chapter 9 and verse 13. And after all that is come upon us for our evil deeds,
read,
and for our great trespass,
read,
seeing that thou, our God, hast punished us less.
See, so we got less
than our iniquities deserve.
Because our iniquities deserved far more punishment.
Come.
But he gave us less because he loves us. It's like you needed to get a good whipping. But instead of getting the full brunt of it, you just got half of it.
Come.
That's what he's telling us here. So now when we go back and read Job, it makes now more perfect sense. Let's read.
Job chapter 11 and verse 6. And that he would show thee the secrets of wisdom, that they are double to that which is now.
That they are what?
To Shalaki, that he would show thee the secrets of wisdom, that they are double to that which is now.
All right, from there, let's go to Isaiah 19, please. I want to quickly just make a adjustment here. Go ahead. Isaiah chapter 19, begin at verse 1.
Come. Isaiah chapter 19 and verse 1. The burden of Egypt.
The burden of whom?
The burden of Egypt.
Go on.
Behold, the Most High rideth upon a swift cloud.
Rides upon a swift cloud. Go on.
And shall come into Egypt.
Now, what does that mean? What does that mean? Please, can someone tell me? What does it mean? The burden of Egypt. Behold, the Lord rideth upon swift clouds and shall come into Egypt. Now remember, okay, what he gave you the answer to the first part of it. We showed the Revelations showing that he's going to come in the fathership. And when he comes, all eyes shall see him. Go ahead, sir.
Shalom, Dr. Thompson.
Shalom to you.
That's the destruction of Esau's kingdom here in this country.
Come on. That's showing the destruction of the kingdom of Esau here in Babylon, United States of America. Because remember, America right now carries all the traits of Egypt. Read it the entirety.
Come, Isaiah chapter 19 verse 1. The burden of Egypt, behold, the Most High rideth upon a swift cloud.
Read.
And shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved.
Now hold it.
Mm.
The statues,
Mm.
trumpets for it. Read it again, please.
Come. And the idols of Egypt shall
And
be
the
moved.
idols of America, the idols of Utah,
Come.
the idols over in the UK, the idols over in France, the idols over in Germany, all of these idols are going to be torn down. But the one that is more prophetic than all is the one where this demonic angel has a trumpet, and no man pulled that one down, but the Most High God sent his angel to snatch that trumpet out of its hand.
Come.
That to me, if you can't see that as a sign, again let me say, find a rock and hide. Because he's letting you know clearly he's doing so. And the reason why you may not get it is because the newspapers were so kind of embarrassed by it, they swept over it and didn't make it big news as it should have been. How did the trumpet fall out of the golden angel's hands?
Come.
But it fell.
That's
But
right.
it was welded there. It shouldn't fall.
That's right.
But we know a God. And so it says, finish it for me.
And the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence.
Read.
And the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it.
Can you imagine those people in the moment, church, wondering, what could this mean? Let's go to 2nd Ezra, chapter 13 and 29. 2nd Ezra, chapter 13 and 29.
In the Apocrypha, page 30, 2nd Ezra, chapter 13 and verse 29, it reads, Behold, the days come, when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth.
So we are in the day and age and the time when we're seeing the deliverance is about to take place.
Come.
Read.
And he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth.
Read.
And one shall undertake to fight against another.
Go on.
One city against another, one place against another.
Go on.
One people against another, and one realm against another.
Did we not just read this in Matthew chapter 24 and 7?
Come.
Read on.
And the time shall be when these things shall come to pass, and the signs shall happen, which I showed it.
It said, these things shall come to pass, and the signs shall happen. It's coming to pass. The signs are happening. We're seeing it. I never thought that I would live to see this day. And in seeing it, I've got to say, Father, what is your will?
That's right.
Read on for me.
Yes, sir. Which I showed thee before, and then shall my son be declared.
Read. Hold it. He said, these things must happen before he is declared.
Come.
So what you're seeing now is preparing you for the appearance. Read for me.
Whom thou sawest as a man ascending.
Go on.
And when all the people hear his voice,
read,
every man shall in their own land leave the battle they have won against another.
Read.
And an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together, as thou sawest them willing to come, and to overcome him by fighting.
Read.
But he shall stand upon the top of the Mount Zion.
Go on. In other words, he's going to stand on top of Mount Zion. He's going to stand for Israel.
Come.
They're going to say, what? He's standing for them?
Come.
Read on. Oh, you got a question there?
Dr. Thompson, I'm sorry, but this just hit my head. When he's standing on the mountain, this also showing the government of Israel coming into the kingdom?
Come. We're going to see the beginning of what he's going to do next. Go on.
Verse 36. And Zion shall come. And Zion shall come.
And who?
And Zion shall come.
So Israel is going to come. Read.
And shall be showed to all men.
All those who didn't know who we are. All those who are talking about you can't read this out on TMZ. All those who are saying, well, you're going to lose your contract because you're reading Hitler's letter. Now it's going to be said.
And Zion shall come.
Go on, read it. Doctor.
And shall be shown to all men, being prepared and builded.
And what?
And prepared and builded.
We are being builded up right now.
That's right.
Because when you're in the truth, it builds you up.
That's right.
It turns you into something else. It makes you into something else. Are you hearing me, brothers?
That's right. Come.
Read.
As thou sawest the hill graven without hands.
Graven without hands. All right, we'll drop that now. Let's go, if you please. My spirit is stirred. Let's go to Nahum. Let's go to Nahum chapter 3. Let's begin reading, if you please. We'll begin at verse 1.
The book of Nahum, chapter 3 and verse 1. Woe to the bloody city. It is all full of lies. And
So what? This is the lioness country in the world. Full of lies. Full of deceit. But read, sir.
full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not.
Read.
The noise of a whip, and the noise of the rattling of the wheels.
Read.
And of the prancing horses, and of the jumping chariots.
Read.
The horseman lifteth up both the bright sword and the glittering spear.
Go on.
And there is a multitude of slain, and a great number of the carcasses, and there is none end of their corpse.
None end of it. Their corpse is going to fill the streets. So much so that they're going to be walking over it. What's this doing here? I'm just walking over it because it's going to be a sight and a half. You got a question there, Doctor?
I have a precept, sir.
Got a precept?
Psalm 50, verse 21.
All right, let's go to that precept right now. Psalms chapter 50 and verse what? 21. Let's go.
It's the book of Psalms, chapter 50 and verse 21. These things hast thou done, and I kept silence.
Read.
Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such and one as thyself.
Read. In other words, you painted him to look like you, and therefore you thought that he was like you, and that's why he hasn't done anything as yet, because he is you. But look at what it says. Read.
But I will reprove thee.
I'm going to reprove you. Go on.
And set them in order before thine eyes.
Before thine eyes.
Come
on, let's go back. Let's read verse 4.
Nahum chapter 3 and verse 4. Because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot.
Read.
The mistress of witchcraft.
Go on.
That selleth nations through her whoredom.
See, so now you're realizing that this country has sold nations. They have enslaved and they have taken advantage in the greatest ways.
That's right.
This is a devilish country.
Yeah, it is.
Finish it.
That selleth
In
nations.
fact, I want you to go back and read where it says the mistress of witchcraft.
The mistress of witchcraft.
Read.
That selleth nations through her whoredom.
Through her whoredom. Read.
And families.
Read.
Through her witchcraft.
Through her witchcraft. And then they got the nerve to say that black people are involved in witchcraft. And yet the Bible is letting you know that there's no witchcraft greater than Esau's witchcraft. Right, in fact, I would like to read verse, in fact, I am going to read verse 5. Let's read verse 5.
Verse 5. Behold, I am against thee, saith the Most High.
I am against thee. That ties into Psalms chapter 50. That's your precept for it. All right? That's your precept for it. Psalms chapter 50. All right? Make a note of that. Go on.
I am against thee, saith the Most High of hosts.
Read.
And I will discover thy skirts upon thy face. And I will show the nations thy nakedness.
Show what?
And I will show the nations thy nakedness.
I'll show the nations thy nakedness. Now, we're going to come back and read this again. Let's run to Isaiah real quick. We're going to come back and read it again. The lesson we've tied in. Isaiah chapter 3. So don't lose your place. Isaiah chapter 3. Begin at verse 1, if you please.
Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 1. For behold, the Lord, the Most High of hosts, doth take away from Jerusalem and from Judah the stay and the staff, the whole stay of bread,
Go on.
and the whole stay of water, the mighty man and the man of war, the judge and the prophet.
Now, in order for you to do that, what is it implying? Can I get, I want to see if I can get someone to give me what you have seen in this verse or what you have got from past studies with this. It says, read it again from the top.
Isaiah chapter 3, verse 1. For behold, the Lord, the Most High of hosts, doth take away from Jerusalem and from Judah the stay and the staff, the whole stay of bread and the whole stay of water.
Go on.
The mighty man.
So it's taking away the things that causes you to survive. Bread and water. See, those are the things that you have to prepare with. So it says, I'm going to take those things away, and also, on top of that, I'm going to take away, read verse 2.
Verse 2, the mighty man.
The mighty man. The mighty man, meaning the men of Israel.
Okay.
Because the men of Israel are considered to be mighty men.
Got a precept.
Got a precept?
Yeah.
All right. Is it a tie-in precept, or is it the precept you just found?
It's a tie-in to the family. It's Jeremiah 37 and 21.
Right. Let's hold this. Let's go to Jeremiah
37 and 21.
37 and 21. All right.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 37.
Oh, yes, that's dealing with the daily bread, but go on.
In verse 21. Then Zedekiah, the king, commanded that they should commit Jeremiah into the court of the prison, and that they should give him daily a piece of bread out of the baker's street, until all the bread in the city were spent. Thus Jeremiah remained in the court of the prison.
Right. Now, that's why I asked the question, is it one that ties in, or is it one, because let's go back and read what we just read in regards to bread so you understand.
Come, Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 1. For behold, the Lord, the Most High of hosts, doth take away from Jerusalem and from Judah the stay and the staff.
Right. So in order to understand this, just to help our brothers to understand the scriptures. Now, it says here that, read it again, sir, and let me pick it out.
Yes, sir. For behold, the Lord and the Most High of hosts doth take away from Jerusalem.
Take away from where?
From Jerusalem.
Take away from Jerusalem.
And from Judah the stay.
The stay here is dealing with the stock, all right, or all of the things that you live by, all right? When we take it's an old English King James term. Your stay meaning all of your food, your groceries, your provisions, your victuals, right?
Okay.
Go on.
And the staff.
And what?
And the staff.
And the staff, right? So who can tell me? What does that mean? Anyone? Staff? Anyone? Support, that's what it means. Support. All right, support. So make a note of that. Staff means support. If a person has a staff in their hand, they use it A to 5 with, but primarily just to lean on it. It's support. All right. So that's what it's referring to here. All right. Then it says, go on.
The whole stay of bread.
So all the storage that stores bread. Are you seeing that? So that's why I said when we went and read Jeremiah now, that's only dealing with Jeremiah receiving a portion of bread each day to keep him alive. It doesn't tie into here. So that's why I need you to understand how we precept. Otherwise, we don't have any continuity. Right? Connection. Yes, sir?
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom to you, Brother Isaiah.
The question that I have, because I remember once before, didn't when the men of Israel had their staffs, it also had their histories carved into it.
Correct.
So if there is a precept in Jeremiah that says you would discontinue from our heritage, because without that staff, we wouldn't have our history.
Because what the reason why it was a custom in Israel that every man that had a staff, that's why Scripture said, "I run on thy staff, they comfort me." Why would they comfort? Because as a man gets older in age, and some of you heard me teach this before, he often would lose his sight. But the staff that he has had for 30, 40, 50 years all of the miracles, the wars, the blessings that the Most High has done to them are written on the staff. So he could take the staff, sit down with the children, and as he's feeling the staff, he could tell the story of what Israel went through, and they themselves could retort the history to their children. So the staff was important to keep history. And also, there's another section that deals with it being a form of rulership, but we won't get into that at this time. Make it quick, sir.
So 1619 and 1492, that was also us losing a staff. Because
go on before I say anything. Go on.
But that was also losing because we lost our history in both of those eras.
Gone. Because 1619 means that all the staff that we had that had our history was lost, and that's why the scripture says that we will lose our heritage. And once we've lost our heritage, that's why today we don't know who we are.
That's right.
The Bible says that ox know who it is, and also a donkey knows who it is, but we've got no clue. All right. So, all right, let's get back to this now. Thank you so much, sir. All right, let's read verse 2.
Yes, sir. Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 2. The mighty man and the man of war.
And the man of who?
And the man of war.
Go on.
The judge and the prophet and the prudent and the ancient.
And the prudent and the ancient.
All
right. So when it uses the word prudent here and the ancient, the word ancient is dealing with those who are the elders among Israel. So when we read that word, it's normally dealing with those who are the elders among Israel. All right. And then let's read verse 3. I just want to just read, that, and then we'll move on. Go on.
Verse 3. The captain of 50.
Now you'll see that even as people moved on in promotion, that's why a captain normally, according to the scripture here, he is over 50 people, or 50 men, I should say, 50 men. Because this all goes all the way back to Moses, when Moses was told how to break the people up into segments so it would be easier for him to manage and to rule them. So here, with what you're reading is a spin-off from that tradition. And that's why as we promote people usually, now you can have captains of less, but traditionally, captains are of 50. All right. Then it says, go on.
The captain of 50, and the honorable man, and the counselor, and the cunning artificer, and the eloquent orator.
And the eloquent orator, okay. So let's move on from that, please. Let's go back now to Nahum. If you please, let's go back there.
Chapter 1?
Yes.
Chapter 3.
Chapter 3, and we're going to read from verse 5 again.
Nahum, chapter 3 and verse 5. Behold, I am against thee, saith the Most High of hosts.
Go on.
And I will discover thy skirts upon thy face.
Read.
And I will show the nations thy nakedness.
Thy what?
Thy nakedness.
Go on.
And the kingdoms thy shame.
All right, let's go to Isaiah chapter 47 and 1. Isaiah chapter 47 and 1.
Yes, sir. Isaiah chapter 47 and verse 1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon.
Read.
Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate.
Go on.
Take the millstones and grind meal. Uncover thy locks. Make bare the leg.
Hold it one moment. Now, notice it uses the word uncover thy locks. That's your hair. I don't see no word that says nappy in there. So that's what the slave people called us, and we have continued with that saying. That's why you always hear me push it, that you don't say that.
That's right.
If you can help it. Because where I'm from, in the UK, they used to like to use like wog hair. They use the term walk. You know, and back then I didn't. Anyway, the fact is, the word walk is not a good word. You see, so it's like the word, your N word here. It's on the same level. And so here it tells us that we have locks. Our hair is in locks. Small locks, big locks, even straight locks. We have locks in our hair because the different types of the hair, it exists in our bloodline. You must understand that, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. They are from us.
That's right.
And because they're from us, what they have came from us.
That's right.
So we have the ability to have that too. It is only given to some in different portions and ways. Come. And remember, our hair is a shelter. You don't need an umbrella when you've got a throw up there. Because it protects you. There are some tribes over in Africa right now, they have big afros and they mix mud into it. And they shape it in different manners. But they never have to worry about the sun and getting heat stroke. Because our hair is our glory. That's why it's the glory of the woman. The more. Come? All right. So enough of this snappy-headed business, please. All right, let's get back here. So you know that's a pet peeve of mine. So all right. So let's read, sir. Read.
Verse 2 again.
Yes, please.
This is Isaiah chapter 47, verse 2. Take the millstones and grind meal. Uncover thy locks. Make bare the leg. Uncover the thigh. Pass over the rivers.
Go on.
Thy nakedness shall be uncovered. Yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man.
All right, so here it's speaking about showing that you mustn't show your bare legs, etc. Keep yourself covered, and then it mentions the thigh, etc., giving you distance as to how, or you can also use the scripture to describe how a woman should dress, etc. All right, but go on. Let's read verse 3.
Verse 3. Thy nakedness.
And we just read about the nakedness, did we not? In Nahum, right? Go on.
Thy nakedness shall be uncovered.
Read.
Yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance and will not meet thee as a man.
I will not meet thee as a man. I came before as a man. I came before as a lamb. When I come back, I'm coming as a lion.
That's right.
All right, so let's go back, if you please, to Nahum.
The book of Nahum, chapter 3 and verse 6.
We're going to jump to verse 10 for time.
Verse 10. Yet was she carried away. She went into captivity. Her young children also were dashed in pieces at the top of all the streets.
You see that? Go on.
And they cast lots for her honorable men.
They did what?
And they cast lots for her honorable men.
Go on.
And all her great men were bound in chains.
In chains. Now, let's go back to Isaiah again. Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 3, and we'll read that one more time. Isaiah chapter, what did I say?
3.
Good. Let's read that one more time because the emphasis is on, go on.
Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 3. The captain of 50 and the honorable men, and the counselor, and the cunning artificer, and the eloquent orator.
All right, so from here, what I would like us to do is go to 2 Ezra chapter 15. 2 Ezra chapter 15. I want us to read verse 27 to begin.
Come. In the Apocrypha, page 33, chapter 15, and verse 27. For now are the plagues come upon the whole earth.
Read that again.
For now are the plagues come upon the whole earth.
Read it again.
For now are the plagues come upon the whole earth.
Read.
And ye shall remain in them. For God shall not deliver you.
So, It's letting you know the plagues are coming. You have to remain in it. Does anyone have a problem with that? Right. The Most High said, you are going to be in the midst of all those things that's happening.
Come.
Now, some of us are going to freak out. But what you have misunderstood is that some of us will even die from the plagues. Now, that's a hard one for some of you to digest at this point.
Come.
Because your dying makes you a martyr in this, or a martyr in this situation. Because you are fulfilling prophecy.
That's right.
And is it not noble that you were chosen to die in such a way, knowing that the end of you here is the beginning of you in the kingdom?
Come.
Come.
So when we read it again one more time, if you please.
2nd Ezra, chapter 15, verse 27,
Read.
on page 33. For now are the plagues come upon the whole earth, and ye shall remain in them. For God shall not deliver you, because ye have sinned against him.
See, so our sin holds us to our condition still. See that? Any questions from anyone before I go any further?
And well, in Wisdom of Solomon that we read earlier in chapter 3, verse 5, it says he's only chastises but a little bit.
Let's go read that again,
Come.
in case it might have slipped out of our minds.
On page 59 in the Apocrypha, Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 3 and verse 5. And having been a little chastised,
A little what?
a little chastised,
Read.
they shall be greatly rewarded. For God proved them and found them worthy for himself.
So this that you go through is part of him proving you, Con.
Come.
Now let's get back and read verse 46 of 2nd Ezra chapter 15, please.
Come. On page 33, 2nd Ezra, chapter 15 and verse 46. And thou, Asia, that art partaker of the hope of Babylon, all praises, and art the glory of her person.
So this Asia is speaking about is Asia as in Moab
Come.
and Ammon.
That's right.
They have been partakers. Why? Because they want to be like Esau.
That's right.
Has it not been said that they are going to be the next superpower? But many years ago, I taught a lesson called "The Next Great Superpower." That was Israel. Do you remember that one? Right. It was about us, Israel, being the next great superpower.
That's right.
We are. No one else is coming before us. And so when we read this now, it says, and thou, Asia, that are partakers of the hope of Babylon, meaning they want to be like Babylon, and are the glory of her person. And then it says,
woe be unto thee, thou wretch.
what?
Woe be unto thee, thou wretch.
Even the Most High calls Moab a wretch. Go on.
Because thou hast made thyself like unto her,
Read.
and hast decked thy daughters in whoredom.
In other words, skin lightening cream and all of those things to make them go from their so-called dark brown skin to a light so-called white skin. Thank you very much. Because they want to look like, and it's so funny that they want to sound like, look like, walk like, and then when you see them, you're still Moab.
That's right. That's right.
You're still Moab. One look at your eyes, I still know where you're from.
That's right.
You're not escaping you. Go on.
That they might please the glory in thy lovers,
Go on.
which have always desired to commit whoredom with thee.
With thee. You see, they've had a desire from that time to commit whoredom. Go on.
Thou hast followed her that is hated in all her works and inventions.
You have followed the very country that has been hated
That's right.
and despised. Even though outwardly people say all these good things about America, deep down they despise America.
That's right.
Go on.
Therefore, saith the Most High.
And this is why it's sad when we have our people, especially when we get those nicks on the news things, saying, "I'm proud to be an American. I'm proud." I'm rocking their head. Really? How are you proud to be something that the scripture says that you commit? Remember, read it again. Read the last verse again.
Come. Verse 48. Thou hast followed her that is hated in all her works and inventions.
Read.
Therefore, saith the Most High,
Read.
I will send plagues
I will
upon
do
thee.
what?
I will send plagues upon thee.
Read.
Widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence, to waste thy houses with destruction and death.
See? So what you just read there is the fulfillment of what's going to take place before us.
That's right.
Is that right? That's what he has said has taken place. And there's no escaping that. Any questions from anyone before I go any further? Any questions? Go ahead, sir.
Is it too soon for Revelation 18 and
It's a
5?
bit soon.
Yeah, it's a bit soon for that.
Yeah. I see where you're going, but yeah. So from there, let's see if we can move forward a little bit. So let's go to Isaiah 26:1, please.
It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 26 and verse 1.
Let's read.
In that day shall this song be sung in the land of Judah.
Go on.
We have a strong city. Salvation will God appoint for walls and bulwarks.
Now, here's the thing with this. You have to read this again. Because, again, people read it and miss it. Read.
Isaiah chapter 26 and verse 1. In that day shall this song be sung in the land of Judah. We have a strong city.
So it's in the land of Judah, and it is Israel saying that we have a strong city. Go on.
Salvation will the Most High appoint for walls and bulwarks.
So here we see that this is about us, not about the other nations.
Come.
You see this? There's no other nations being mentioned here with this. See? But then when we read the next verse, let's read.
Open ye the gates, that the righteous nation, which keepeth the truth, may enter in.
Read.
Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusteth in thee.
Now that's the scripture we said, the golden text when we were children. You know, thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed upon thee. So we're seeing here, it's speaking only about Israel. Let's just read the 4th verse and we'll move on.
Verse 4. Trust ye in the Most High forever. For in the Most High, Yahweh is everlasting strength.
Is what?
Yahweh is everlasting strength.
Let's go to Matthew chapter 10 and 27. Matthew chapter 10 and 27. Let's go there.
The book of Matthew, chapter 10 and verse 27. It reads, What I tell you in darkness.
Just hold on a moment.
Come.
For a few people to catch up, myself included. All right. Let's go.
The book of Matthew, chapter 10 and verse 27. What I tell you in darkness, that speak ye in light.
So, some things are spoken to us as a mystery. He didn't give this mystery to everyone.
Come.
According to the scriptures, he gave this mystery to us. And that's why he uses dark sayings. He uses expressions that the other nations don't get it. Now, he's speaking to us the same way as he has done from the beginning. The other nations, however, they were not around. So they don't get it. We get it, but they don't get it. Now, there was a time in American, so-called Black American history, where there was a term that you used, which was called, and please correct me if I'm going off, please, because I'm a student with this, jive talking, is that right?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Slang, jive.
The way it's supposed to
Jive
be,
is
nobody
speaking
knows
the slang, basically.
What? Go ahead, did you say?
It's shown Dr. Thompson. It was the way we talked, so anybody around us wouldn't know what we were saying.
That is what I wanted to hear.
God.
It was a way of speaking that even when other people were around, they couldn't understand fully what you were saying. The Caribbeans have the same thing, or the Benjamites have the same thing. They call it patois.
God.
So you can have a full-fledged conversation in front of whomever, and they don't know what you just said. You could be telling them about the person look like this or look like that, and they still don't know what you're saying. Right?
Yeah.
This is how the Most High speaks to us in a way that we understand it. And that's why even in this truth, many of the nations don't get it. See? So when we read now, 27 again, read.
Matthew chapter 10 and verse 27. What I tell you in darkness, that speak ye in light.
Read.
And what ye hear in the ear, that preach ye upon the housetops.
Go on.
And fear not them which kill the body,
Go on.
but are not able to kill the soul.
Read.
But rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell.
In hell, in destruction.
That's right.
And so we see that we mustn't fear those who are trying to kill us.
Come.
So in other words, COVID-19, don't sweat it. See, there should have been a resounding amen in here. But no, you all get quiet. I don't know, but you must be able to withstand. What can separate you? In fact, we'll read that later, but let's read on. Let's read.
Verse 29. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a farthing?
Go on.
And one of them shall not fall on the ground without your Father?
In other words, no bird dies. There is no bird, no tiger, no snake, no ant that dies and the Father does not know about it.
Come.
So if he's aware of all of those things happening, how much more his crown possession, which is us? Huh? So it's letting us know, you know, if 2 birds can be both for farthing and one of them fall to the ground and die, does the Father not know this?
Come.
Then verse 30, read.
Verse 30. But the very hairs of your head are all numbered.
Every hair on our head is numbered. Read.
Fear ye not, therefore. Ye are of more value.
Oh, now you're seeing it. And for those of you that haven't got it yet, underline the word more value.
That's right.
In case you might not realize it, you're valuable. I know they had you in chattel and chains, but you're valuable.
That's right.
I know they fed you pig slop, but you're valuable.
Your property.
All those things were just for a moment. But he said we're going to be greatly rewarded. The wisdom of Solomon lets us know.
That's right.
Read.
Come. Fear ye not, therefore. Ye are of more value than many sparrows.
Read.
Whosoever therefore shall confess me before men,
In other words, don't be afraid to continue to speak truth. Go on.
him will I confess also before my Father which is in heaven.
Read.
But whosoever shall deny me before men,
Read.
him will I also deny before my Father which is in heaven.
Which is where?
Which is in heaven.
Which is in heaven.
That's right.
Acts chapter 12 and verse 1. Acts 12 and 1, please.
Yes, sir.
All right, now we're going to take our time with this one just a little bit. So let's go.
Acts chapter 12 and verse 1. Now about that time, Herod the king stretched forth his hands to vex certain of the church,
Now, who can explain this to me a little bit? Who can explain that? Go ahead.
During the time that I think Agrippa was in power, and so what had happened was he started to attack the people that were going forth that were talking about the Messiah. And so he started going after the different groups and killing them.
All right. Now, you said Agrippa was in power at that time. Yes. Now, first of all, this Herod here is Herod the Agrippa, right? He is an Agrippa. The term Agrippa, it's a title given. You got that, Dustrious? It's a title given. And that title is, it can mean tyrant. It can mean, there's a couple other things I don't remember offhand, but primarily it means tyrant or someone that, it's a term also used in equestrian for riding. So he was Herod the Agrippa the first. He was the first Agrippa. All right. Now remember, just a few verses before, we were called Christians at Antioch. So if you just jump back a little bit and read verse 26.
Acts chapter 11 and verse 26. And when he had found him, he brought him unto Antioch. And it came to pass that a whole year they assembled themselves with the church and taught much people. And the disciples were called Christians.
They were called Christians.
First in Antioch.
Right. So, and the term Antioch is named after who? Antiochus Epiphanes. Good. Let's go, we're not dealing with that right now. Let's go back. Go back to verse 1, chapter 12, verse 1. Let's go back there.
Acts chapter 12 and verse 1.
Right, that was just a sidebar for anyone.
Now, about that time, Herod the king stretched forth his hands to vex certain of the church.
Go on.
And he killed James, the brother of John, with the sword. And because he saw it pleased the Jews, he proceeded further to take Peter also.
Read.
Then were the days Then were the days of unleavened bread. And when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison and delivered him to 4 cordons.
Read it again.
And when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison and delivered him to 4 quarterings.
Go on.
4 quarterings of soldiers to keep him, intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people.
Now we do know that this was not Easter as they are portraying it, right? What was the time here? It was Passover. So if it was Passover, and that's why you have to recognize where they will drop things into the scriptures. Where do you find an answer to this? Where do you find an answer to this? Because remember, their Easter, they've tied their Easter in to our Passover to make it justifiable. And that's why in the churches, especially the Christian church, why we read Acts chapter 11 and 26, that's why they justify. Because the moment we start using terms in the Christian church, we make it real. And it's almost as if it becomes law. And it isn't. To prove that point, go to Jeremiah for me real quick. Jeremiah chapter 7 and 16.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 7 and verse 16.
Read.
Therefore, pray not thou for this people, neither lift up cry nor prayer for them.
Read.
Neither make intercession to me, for I will not hear thee.
Read.
Seest thou not what they do in the cities of Judah
Go on.
and in the streets of Jerusalem?
Go on.
the children gather wood, and the fathers kindle the fire.
Go on.
And the women knead their dough
See that?
to make cakes to the Queen of Heaven,
Read.
and to pour out drink offerings unto other gods, that they may provoke me to anger.
See that? So this is what was done to justify the actions of Easter. And that's in the Christian church, they still justify. Because they're making even the children go out and find Easter eggs, not realizing you're putting a spirit on the children to impregnate themselves early. You see, they'll teach them something, but by a spiritual form that later on will manifest in a physical form. They'll go in search of getting pregnant. They'll go in search of impregnating a girl. All these things work together. But we become so ignorant because we try to kind of make things like, it don't matter. You know, what's the problem with that? There is a problem with it big time.
That's right.
Go ahead, question.
So is that a spell that they taught us to cast on our children?
Indeed. Because remember the scripture tells, thank you very much, ma'am. It is witchcraft. It is witchcraft. It is witchcraft. It is witchcraft. Did we not read what the scripture says that it's a witchcraft? Did we not read that?
Right.
It tells us witchcraft. Witchcraft is something we have to be mindful of. We have to be mindful of witchcraft happening within our midst. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, when we see it, we have to rebuke it. We have to rebuke it. But you know what we do? We laugh and we continue with it. And here's the other thing, and I don't want to go off on a tangent because this is not what we're dealing with, but it is part of the prophecy being fulfilled. Do you follow what I'm saying? That even you mustn't buy Easter eggs and eat it. And if someone gives it to you, give it back. But you know what some of you do? You take that Easter egg, I'm gonna enjoy this chocolate. No, you mustn't. There is a spirit behind. Did we not just read about them being the head of witchcraft? So what we read in Jeremiah, please make a note of that. Jeremiah chapter 7:16. All right. Let's go back to Acts now, please.
It's the book of Acts, chapter 12, and verse 5. Peter, therefore, was kept in prison, but prayer was made without ceasing.
Hold on, what did it say?
But prayer was made without ceasing.
Prayer was made without ceasing. How many of you in here believe in prayer? Because if you don't, you should. Prayer is something you should do every single day.
That's right.
And you should now make prayer a part of your conversation with the Most High. People say, well, I don't have time. Yes, you do. You're in your car by yourself. When you're driving by yourself, pray.
That's right.
You take a minute, pray. You must learn to pray. It's the only thing that's going to open you up for coverage from the Most High. Because it said, read it one more time, please.
Acts chapter 12, verse 5. Peter, therefore, was kept in prison, but prayer was made without ceasing of the church unto God for him.
Go on.
And when Herod would have brought him forth, the same night Peter was sleeping between two soldiers, bound with two chains. And the keepers before the door kept the prison. And behold, the angel of the Lord came upon him, and in a light shined in the prison. And he smote Peter on the side, and raised him up, saying, Arise up quickly. And his chains fell off from his hands.
And what happened?
And his chains fell off from his hands.
Now, remember, there's a symbolism behind this. Meaning that in the midst of your captivity, the Most High is going to have you in a position where your chains will fall off.
That's right.
And remember, not just physical chains. There are chains that change chained your mind,
That's right.
chained your spirit, chained your dreams, chained your ambition. Everything about you has been chained. And then it says, in fact, because of time, I don't want to go into it fully. What verse are you up to, sir?
That was verse 7, sir.
So read verse 8, please.
In verse 8, and the angel said unto him, Gird thyself.
Do what?
Gird thyself.
Go on.
And bind on thy sandals.
Go on.
And so he did. And he said unto him, Cast thy garment about thee, and follow me.
Read.
And he went out, and followed him.
We'll jump down to 10.
Verse 10. When they were past the first and second ward, they came unto the iron gate
Go on.
that leadeth unto the city,
Go on.
which opened to them of his own accord. And they went out and passed on through one street. And forthwith the angel departed from him. And when Peter was come to himself, he said, Now I know of a surety that the Lord hath sent his angel, and have delivered me out of the hand of Herod,
Go on.
and from all the expectation of the people of the Jews.
Now, there were some wicked Jews at the time
That's right.
who had expectations for more evil works through Herod.
Come.
That's why you remember that when James was killed, it pleased the people. Go back and read verse 2 and 3 for me, please.
Yes, sir. Acts chapter 12 and verse 2. And he killed James, the brother of John, with the sword.
Go on.
And because he saw it pleased the Jews,
It did what?
because he saw it pleased the Jews,
Go on.
he proceeded further to take Peter also.
Right, jump that down to where you were.
Come. Verse 10. Shalaki. Acts chapter 12 and verse 10. And when they were past the first and the second ward, they came unto the iron gate that leadeth unto the city,
Read.
which opened to them of his own accord. And they went out and passed on through one street, and forthwith the angel departed from him.
The angel did what?
And the angel departed from him.
Jump down to verse 18.
In verse 18. Now, as soon as it was day, there was no small stir among the soldiers.
Go on.
What was become of Peter? And when Herod had sought for him and found him not, he examined the keepers and commanded that they should be put to death.
Go on.
And he went down from Judah to Caesarea, and there abode.
Go on.
And Herod was highly displeased with them of Tyre and Sidon. But they came with one accord to him, and having made Blastus the king of Chamberlain,
Read.
their friend, desired peace, because their country was nourished by the king's country.
In other words, they received like a grant money.
Nothing new.
And because they received the grant money, they wanted to make sure that they keep that grant money coming in. Go on.
And upon a set day, Herod arrayed a royal apparel,
Go on.
sat upon his throne, and made a oration unto them.
Good. Now, the reasons why he was doing this, because he wanted to come across to the people like he was something coming down from heaven. Go on.
Come. And the people gave a shout, saying, It is the voice of a God, and not of a man.
Read.
And immediately the angel of the Lord smote him.
Smote him. Go to Ezekiel chapter 28 and 2.
Ezekiel chapter 28 and verse 2.
Go on.
Son of man, saying unto the prince of Tyrus, Thus saith the Most High God, because thine heart is lifted up.
Now, the reasons why we're reading that and what you've just read here is because, remember, Herod is, all right, let's back up. What nationality is Herod?
Edom.
He's Edomite. So if he's Edomite, go back now and read what you're reading. What's reading there?
Ezekiel chapter 28 and verse 2. Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus,
Go on.
Thus saith the Most High God, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a God.
That is what Edom believes he is.
Come.
He believes he is God. And that's why all what you see happening right now in terms of this pandemic, the whole purpose behind it is to play the role of God.
That's right.
Because his whole objectivity now is to kill 1/3 of all the people on the earth. Now, who could find that scripture for me, please? All right, go ahead.
Zechariah chapter 13, verse 9. 1/3 I'll bring through.
We'll go to that one, but that's not the one I want. What I want is Revelation.
Oh, that's in Revelation.
I'm not talking about the 2/3.
They say it smoked 1/3 of the earth.
1/3 of the earth.
It's in Revelation chapter.
Who can find that for me, please? My allergies have affected me again. Don't know what's wrong, but anyway, we'll get there. So who has it? Go ahead.
Come, this is Revelation chapter 9 and verse 18. By these three was the third part of men killed by the fire, and by the smoke, and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouths. Come, Revelation chapter 9 and verse 18. By these three was the third part of men killed by the fire, and by the smoke, and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouths.
What was that?
That was Revelation 9 and 18.
Okay. Yeah. I would like you to go to Daniel chapter 7. Read verse 11.
This is the book of Daniel, chapter 7 and verse 11. It reads, I beheld then, because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake. I beheld, even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed, and given to the burning flame.
To the burning flames. Now go back and read Revelation chapter 9 and 18.
Revelation chapter 9 and verse 18. By these three was the third part of men killed, by the fire, and by the smoke, and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouths. For their power is in their mouth, and in their tails, for their tails were like unto serpents, and had heads, and with them do they hurt.
Isaiah 24:3.
Isaiah chapter 24 and verse 3. The land shall be utterly emptied and utterly spoiled, for the Most High have spoken this word.
All right. So there is a portion in the future, which is to come, that a third of mankind is going to be completely destroyed. Now, who's to say whether we're heading into that now? Because there's going to be a second wave of the pandemic.
Come,
And they say it's going to be worse than the first.
come.
This is why we have to prepare ourselves for what is about to take place, Khan.
Come.
So let's see if we can take it a step further now. Do you have any questions before we go further? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? All right. All right. So from there, where did we leave off? Let's go back to Acts 30, please. Let's go to Acts 12 and let's read verse 22.
The book of Acts, chapter 12 and verse 22. And the people gave a shout, saying, it is the voice of a God,
Watch this now.
and not of man. And immediately the angel of the Lord smote him,
Read.
because he gave not God the glory.
That's why when time anyone gives you a compliment for doing the work of the Most High God, you say to the Most High, be the glory.
That's right.
You don't go, oh, that's me. You do that, you're setting yourself up for destruction.
God.
He'll make you sick, he'll make something happen to you because you cannot be prideful in his work.
That's right.
And so, read what it says again.
And Salaki, this is Acts chapter 12 and verse 23. And immediately the angel of the Lord smote him, because he gave not God the glory. And he was eaten of worms.
You what?
And he was eaten of worms,
Go on.
and gave up the ghost.
Read on.
But the word of God grew and multiplied.
Go on.
And Barnabas and Saul returned from Jerusalem when they had fulfilled their ministry, and took with them John, whose surname was Mark.
All right, from there, let's go to Romans chapter 8. Romans chapter 8 and 35. And we'll start winding down from here.
The book of Romans, chapter 8 and verse 35. Who shall separate us from the love of the Mashiach?
So you have to ask yourself that question. In the midst of this prophetic age that we're in, there are going to be forces that will try to separate you. You must ask yourself the question, who is going to cause you to be separated? And so when people say to me, well, you know, I'm in, I'm locked in, I've heard that too many times over the years. Too many times. And the same people who said that they would be right there, where are they now? So this is how you prove yourself. Be steadfast in the work of the Most High God. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, we all have a part to play. The scripture says, be not weary in well-doing. And anything we do, let's do it believing that Most High God is going to help us to succeed. Read it again, please.
Romans chapter 8 and verse 35. Who shall separate us from the love of the Mashiach?
It says who, because it's dealing with the fact that there are forces, people who can cause you to be separated.
Come.
Read.
Shall tribulations?
So, is it going to be the things that are coming to try you? Is that what's going to separate you? Go on.
Or distress?
Or are you going to become so distressful that you become so fearful that you're going to walk around in a state of misery? Go on.
Or persecution?
Or when people come against you, will that do it? Read.
Or famine?
Or famine, because famine's coming. Now, when the famine comes, are you still going to be able to rejoice? Now remember, I had a show of our hands earlier on as to who would pray. Will you still be able to pray in that time?
God.
Read.
Or nakedness?
Finding yourself without anything. Now, here it's speaking about nakedness, which is in more ways than one. Naked meaning with being without.
Come.
Are you going to be without clothes, without family, without coverage, without home, without money? That nakedness, go on.
Or peril?
Or perils, danger, constant danger. The question is being asked of you, because after that peril comes what?
Or sword?
Or sword. Will a person come to kill you? And will that gun barrel cause you to change your way? What is it? Where are you in the midst of all of this? You have to ask that question. Who is going to separate you from the love of the Mashiach? Cant't? All right. From there, let's go to Acts chapter 11 and 28. We're coming back. Remember, this is our key verse, Romans is staying in.
The book of Acts, chapter 11 and verse 28.
Read.
And there stood up one of them named Agabus, and signified by the Spirit that there should be great dearth.
Read that again.
And there stood up one of them named Agabus, and signified by the Spirit that there should be great dearth. Through
Now, what is dearth, please? Remember, don't guess it. Look it up. So, Agabus, he actually stood up and he said there's going to be great dearth. Great dearth.
Famine,
Say it again.
famine.
Famine.
God.
Dearth is famine. So, he prophesied back then that there's going to be a great famine in the earth. Finish read.
Yes, sir. Throughout all the world.
Throughout where?
Throughout all the world.
Now, this is going to be throughout all the world of Israel and beyond. Go on.
Which came to pass in the days of Claudius Caesar.
Which, that Caesar was Claudius in the history books. All right, go on.
Then the disciples, every man according to his ability, determined to send relief unto the brethren which dwelt in Judah.
Meaning we became more supportive of one another in that circumstance. Right there. You with me so far, ladies and gentlemen? All right, let's go back if you please.
Romans chapter 8 and verse 35.
Read 35 again, then we're going to Proverbs.
Who shall separate us from the love of the Mashiach? Shall tribulation, or distress, or persecution, or famine, or nakedness, or peril, or sword?
Let's go to Proverbs chapter 21 and 29, please. Go there real quick.
21, 29. Come. The book of Proverbs, chapter 21 and verse 29. A wicked man hardeneth his face.
In other words, you won't allow yourself to listen. Go on.
Come. But as for the upright, he directeth his way.
He directeth his ways. Go on.
There is no wisdom, nor understanding, nor counsel against the Most High.
Read.
The horse is prepared.
Read it again.
The horse is prepared.
Is prepared. We then must be in preparation. The horse then is prepared. How? Let's see.
Against the day of battle.
And if you take a horse into battle, you want to make sure he is properly cladded, covered, armored, ready. And then it says what?
Against the day of battle.
Against the day of battle.
But safety is of the Most High.
So safety is of the Most High. So when you prepare yourself and you clad yourself and you're covered and you're ready, it's from the Most High. Because we read earlier on where it says there is no wisdom, nor understanding, nor counsel against the Lord.
That's right.
So we must be prepared. And in this second way, prepare yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Prepare. You know what to do. I'm not going to tell you. You know what to do. For those of you listening via YouTube. All right, let's go. Let's go back, please. Yes, let's go right there. Let's go at Romans. In fact, before we do, let's go to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 17. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 17, and we're going to read verse 12. Everybody there?
Yes.
Let's read.
Wisdom of Solomon on page 68, chapter 17 and verse 12. For fear is nothing else but a betraying of the Sikkors.
Stop. Read it again, sir.
Yes, sir. The Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 17, verse 12. For fear is nothing else but a betraying of the Sikkors.
The Sikkor. Now, the succor is he who favors you or supplies your needs. So he said, for fear is nothing else but a betraying. You are betraying
That's right.
the Most High. The truth is, you're sinning if you fear. Because you can't tell me, I believe in God, and then something happens and you start to lose it. So it tells you here, read it again.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 17, verse 12. For fear is nothing else but a betraying of the succors, which reason offereth.
So, and let's read the next verse, if you please.
And the expectation from within, being less, counteth the ignorance more than the cause which bringeth the torment.
See? You have to be careful. But read that one more time, just make sure that it resonates in everybody's heart and spirit. Go
Verse 13. And the expectation from within, being less, counteth the ignorance more than the cause which bringeth the torment.
Let's go to Acts chapter 11, verse 28, please. Let's go there again and read it.
Acts 11:21.
No, Acts 11, 28. Let's read that again.
Come. Acts chapter 11, verse 28.
Go on.
And there stood up one of them, named Agabus, and signified by the Spirit that there should be great dearth throughout all the world, which came to pass in the days of Claudius Caesar.
Came to pass. So let's now go back to Romans chapter 8. And let's read, if you please, verse 36.
Romans chapter 8 and verse 36. As it is written, for thy sake we are all killed.
So it's written, we're all killed. Take it as a given. And that's why we read earlier that we mustn't fear him that kills the body.
Come.
You don't fear him that does that, because to be absent from the body is to be what? Present with the Most High.
That's right.
Let's read.
For thy sake we are killed all the day long.
Go on.
We are counted as sheep for the slaughter.
Read.
Nay, in all things we are more than conquerors.
Are we more than conquerors, ladies and gentlemen?
Yes, come.
We are more than conquerors. Let's run back to Proverbs 24 and 18, 16, 24 and 16. Let's go there. Proverbs 24. Let's read.
Proverbs chapter 24 and verse 16. For a just man falleth 7 times.
How many times?
7 times.
Go on.
And riseth up again.
Go on.
But the wicked shall fall unto mischief.
Fall unto mischief. Jump down to verse 19.
Verse 19. Fret not thyself because of evil men.
Don't be worried. Go on.
Neither be thou envious at the wicked.
At the wicked. All right. So don't let your heart be troubled. All right, let's get back, if you please.
Yea. Romans chapter 8 and verse 37.
Read 37 again. Yes, thank you.
Nay, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him that loved us.
Mark 4 and 9.
Come.
Mark chapter 4 and verse 9, please. Baba Kasha.
Mark chapter 4 and verse 9. And he said unto them, he that have ears to hear, let him hear.
Now, why did he say that, ladies and gentlemen? Can somebody tell me why he says that? It's straightforward. This is very elementary. Why does he say that? Go ahead.
Is it because it says it so many times in Matthew as well. Is it because everybody won't be able to hear? Because the word is not for everyone?
Well, yes, the word is not for everyone. Yes. Yes, let me stop there.
Come.
Yes. Do you understand what she just said? Can anyone? Go ahead.
Because it's not all of Israel.
Come on. Come on. Because all of Israel is not assigned to be saved. So there are some who hear it, but they won't receive it. And those who don't hear it and receive it don't get burnt out because of them. Leave them. It's not for everybody. Now, if it's not for all of Israel, you can imagine the rest of the world that has no count in there. No count whatsoever.
That's right.
And remember, it's not that he hasn't given everyone a chance, because guess what? He says it over and over and over again. All right, so read it, sir.
Yes, sir. Mark 4:9.
It's good.
The book of Mark, chapter 4 and verse 9. And he said unto them, He that hath ears to hear, let him hear.
Read on.
And when he was alone, they that were about him with the 12 asked of him the parable.
Go on.
And he said unto them, Unto you it is given to know
Only you know the secrets. Go on.
the mystery of the kingdom of God.
Read.
But unto them that are without, all these things are done in parables.
Go on.
That seeing that they may see
Read.
and not perceive, and hearing they may hear,
They what?
and hearing they may hear,
They may hear it, but
and not understand.
that goes back to what she said earlier on.
That's right.
Not everybody is going to hear this, no matter how many times you give it to them. They're not going to hear it.
Come.
No matter who you're speaking to. And that's why sometimes you say to them, I know who's going to hear this, and they're going to love it right away. Then you go and tell them, and then they like rise like a pancake and then fall flat. And you wonder why.
Come.
It's because it's not for everyone. Come. All right, go from there to Matthew chapter 10 and 27. Matthew 10 and 27, please. Let's read.
The book of Matthew, chapter 10, verse 27. What I tell you in darkness,
What I tell you in darkness,
that speak ye in light,
that speak ye when?
in light.
Go on.
And what ye hear in the ear, that preach ye upon the housetops.
Go on.
And fear not them which kill the body,
Don't fear them that kill the body, read.
but are not able to kill the soul.
Kill the soul. Go on.
Come.
All right, let's finish it for me, please.
But rather fear him which is able to destroy both the soul and the body in hell.
All right, from here, let's go. Let's see if we can jump into the Apocrypha now. Let's go to 2nd Ezra, chapter 14 and 13, please. 2nd Ezra, chapter 14, and let's read verse 13.
Yes, sir. 2nd Ezra, chapter 14 and verse 13. Now, therefore, set thine house in order, and reprove thy people.
And do what?
And reprove thy people.
Go on.
Comfort such of them as be in trouble, and now renounce corruption.
Read.
Let go from let go from thee mortal thoughts.
Read.
Cast away the burdens of man.
Read.
Put off now the weak nature,
Stop being weak. Go on.
and set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee,
Read.
and haste thee to flee from these times.
Read.
For yet greater evils than those which thou hast seen happen shall be done hereafter.
Read.
For look how much the world shall be weaker through age, so much the more shall evils increase upon them that dwell therein.
Read.
For the truth is fled far away, and leasing is hard at hand.
Go on.
For now has the vision to come, which thou hast seen.
Which thou hast seen. We can stop there now. So it's letting you know that the world is going to change under the present circumstances of things that take place. 2 Corinthians chapter 10 and 6. 2 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 6, if you please.
Yes, sir. 1 Corinthians.
Is there any questions before I go any further? Because I want to go a few more scriptures and then we're going to
I
stop.
think it's second.
Come.
Any questions?
Does it, verse in 14, 18, does it tie in with the part of the scripture that said they'll be seeking the word, you won't be able to get it?
Yes. That's the precept that goes with it. Go on. So 2 Corinthians
2 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 6.
read.
And having in a readiness.
What?
And having in a readiness.
Go on.
To revenge all disobedience.
All disobedience. Go on.
When your obedience is fulfilled.
Fulfilled. All right, hold that real quick. Run to 2 Corinthians chapter 13 and 2. Real quick. 13 and 2.
2 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 2.
Read.
I told you before.
I did what?
I told you before.
Read.
And foretell you as if I were present.
Go on.
The second time.
The second time. Now, did you finish that verse?
No, sir.
Go on.
And being absent now, I write to them which hereto for have sinned, and to all other, that if I come again,
If I what?
that if I come again,
Go on.
I will not spare.
I will not spare. Jump to 10.
Verse 10. Therefore I write these things, being absent, lest being present I should use sharpness according to the power which the Lord hath given me.
Sometimes he had to become very sharp with the people for them to understand what he was trying to convey to them.
Come.
Because they were not used to things. They wanted things kind of mealy-mouthed, meted out to them. They couldn't take it hard. But they had to receive it hard because he was preparing them against perilous time.
Come.
And sometimes people don't get it when you speak smoothly to them. They say, you need to get this together, you need to do. So come on, get it together. Sometimes you've got to be a little bit more sharper with people.
Come.
Can't? Go finish that for me, please.
Lest being present I should use sharpness according to the power which the Lord hath given me to edification and not to destruction.
And not to destruction.
Come.
Psalms 1 and 1. Psalms chapter 1, verse 1. Everyone should know this particular psalm.
The book of Psalms, chapter 1 and verse 1.
Let's read.
Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly,
Read.
nor standeth in the way of sinners,
Go on.
nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful.
Now, what does that mean? What does that mean, ladies and gentlemen? Huh? Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor sitteth in the seat of sinners.
No, Pastor.
Go ahead.
I mean, do not follow the wicked.
Do not follow the wicked.
You don't sit in the seat, do the things that they do. You don't follow the seat,
All right. Proverbs 4 and 14, please.
Yes, I already had.
All right. Okay.
It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 4 and verse 14. Enter not into the path of the wicked, and go not in the way of evil men.
All right, from there, jump to Psalms 26. Psalm 26, 26 and 4.
Psalms chapter 26 and verse 4.
Go on.
I have not sat with vain persons, neither will I go in with Salakia. Psalm chapter 26 and verse 4.
Slow it down.
Yes, sir. I have not sat with vain persons, neither will I go in with dissemblers.
Good. Go on.
I have hated the congregation of evildoers.
Read that again.
I have hated the congregation of evildoers.
Read.
and will not sit with the wicked.
That's the key. If you hate them, you can't sit with them.
That's right.
That's why it said, blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful.
That's right.
See that? All right, let's read on.
Come, I will wash mine hands in the Salaki.
No, let's drop that, go back to Psalms 1:1.
Come, Psalms chapter 1 and verse 1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful.
Read.
But his delight is in the law of the Most High, and in his law doth he meditate day
What is
and
the
night.
precept for that? Joshua chapter 1 and what?
8.
Let's go. Joshua chapter 1 and 8, let's go.
The book of Joshua, chapter 1 and verse 8. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth,
Go on.
but thou shalt meditate therein.
What shall you do?
Thou shalt meditate therein
Go on.
day and night.
Day and what?
Day and night.
Day and night.
That thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have great, Salaki, good success.
All right. From there, jump to Psalms 119 and 16 as a follow-up precept. That's something that you just put in to keep. Yeah, 119 and 16.
The book of Psalms, chapter 119 and verse 16. I will delight myself in thy statutes.
And I want?
In thy statutes.
Go on.
I will not forget thy word.
And then jump to 35.
Verse 35, it reads, Make me to go in the path of thy commandments,
Read.
for therein do I delight.
These are the things that's going to prepare you in the day of prophecy. To keep his commandment, to stay in the path, to remain faithful. You see, if you're not in this branch of thinking, you will go into this unprepared. And here's the thing, the Spirit won't lead you.
That's right.
You'll panic. When you panic, then you'll do things that you ought not to have done. So let's go back, if you please. Psalms chapter 1, let's go back, and let's read verse 3.
Psalms chapter 1 and verse 3. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water.
By the what?
By the rivers of waters, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season.
In what season?
In his season.
Okay, go to Ezekiel 19 and 10 for me. Ezekiel chapter 19 and verse 10.
Yes, sir. Ezekiel chapter 19 and verse 10. Thy mother is like a vein in thy blood, planted by the waters. She was fruitful and full of branches by reason of many waters.
See that? That's your time right there.
Make some notes, brothers. Make some notes.
I'll ask you questions down the road. You'll be wondering, where's this coming from?
Come.
All right. So what you just read ties in with what? Psalms 1 and 3.
Come.
Very good. All right. Let's, for the time purposes, is there any other questions? Because I want to start to wrap this up. I want to go just a few more. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in terms of preparation other than the things that you need, what do you do to prepare yourself spiritually for what is about to happen? Sister Carol, what would you do? Pray, we covered that. What else would you do? Fast. Now, all right, so fasting, what does fasting do? Can anyone tell me? Because remember, you're going to be without food. What are you going to do?
Shalom, Pastor.
Shalom.
It gives you, it helps you clear your mind. When you're hungry or anything, it helps you clear your mind, clear your thinking, because you're wanting things that you can't readily get.
So what would you fast? So would you fast during, before?
You pass during and before.
Okay. Well, I think during you'll have no choice, because if you run out of food, you're going to have to fast. But what about before? I mean, so when you're fasting before, what's the purpose before? You hold your thought. Could you ask a question? Sisters? Yes, ma'am?
I can't call up the scripture, but
That's okay.
some things only go out by fasting and prayer.
Come.
So we have fasting now is preparation for when
Come.
the time comes that
Come.
we have to.
So there are some things to prepare for what's to come, you have to fast now, so your spirit is right for then. Because the scripture says some things only come but by prayer and fasting. Scripture tells us. Come? All right, so from there, let's finish this up. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 12 and 26, please. Proverbs 12 and 26. Let us read.
Proverbs chapter 12 and verse 26. The righteous is more excellent than his neighbor.
You see, so you're more excellent. And because you're more excellent, you're in a position to do better. Go on.
Come. But the way of the wicked seduceth them.
So it's the things that we see them do that seduces us. That's what you have to be careful of. Psalm 141 and 5. Psalm 141 and 5.
Yes, sir. The book of Psalms, chapter 141 and verse 5. Let the righteous smite me, it shall be a kindness.
Read it again.
Let the righteous smite me, it shall be a kindness.
Read.
And let him reprove me, it shall be an excellent oil, which shall not break my head, for yet my prayer also shall be in their calamities.
In their calamities. So that's the one verse that many of us do not make an underlined note of, because it tells you that you must pray for their destruction. Read it again, sir.
Yes, sir. Psalms chapter 141 and verse 5. Let the righteous smite me, it shall be a kindness. And let him reprove me, it shall be an excellent oil, which shall not break my head, for yet my prayer also shall be in their calamities.
So you're praying for their destruction, basically. So does that answer anyone's question that they said, well, can you pray for the destruction of the wicked? Yes, you can. Oh, but we're meant to be righteous, and righteous people don't do that. Well, the scripture says righteous people are going to go and kill some people, so tell me now. Tell me what about that then? The Bible says these things that we will do, they will be righteous acts. Let's go from there, if you please, to, let's go back to, let's finish out Romans chapter 8. And let's read 36 again, please. Let's read that, and then we'll go forward on.
The book of Romans, chapter 8 and verse 36. As it is written, for thy sake we are killed all the day long. We are counted as sheep for the slaughter.
Go on.
Nay, In all these things, we are more than conquerors.
We are what?
We are more than conquerors.
Do you consider yourself to be a conqueror, ladies and gentlemen? You do? You do? Okay. All right, go
He
on.
tells us that we are, so whatever he tells us we are, that's what we are.
Come on. All right. Just hold that real quick. Psalm 44 and 22. Psalm 44 and 22, please.
The book of Psalms, chapter 44 and verse 22. It reads, Yea, for thy sake are we killed all the day long.
See, so it's telling you, for his name's sake, we will be put under the pressure of where things will try to take us out. Finish that.
We are counted as sheep for the slaughter.
Read.
Awake, thy sleepest thou. O Lord, arise, cast us not off forever.
For what?
Forever.
Forever. All right. Drop that for me, please. And Wisdom of Solomon 3 and 5. And then I want to close up.
Yes, sir. The book of Wisdom of Solomon, page 59 in the Apocrypha, chapter 3 and verse 5. And having been a little chastised, they shall be greatly rewarded. For God proved them and found them worthy for himself.
For himself. 2 Timothy 2 and 3. In fact, let's make it even better. Go to Romans chapter 5
Yes, sir.
and 3. Romans 5 and 3.
The book of Romans, chapter 5 and verse 3. And not only so, but we glory in tribulations also.
See, so we should glory in it. Go on.
Knowing that tribulation worketh
It
patience.
does what?
Worketh patience.
What is patience? And let's go to Romans chapter 8 and 28.
The book of Romans, chapter 8 and verse 28. And we know that all things work together for good
It really does. Go on.
to them that love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose.
Read.
For whom he did foreknow, he also did predestinate to be conformed to the image of his Son, that he might be the firstborn among many brethren.
And we'll end up with 2 Timothy chapter 2 and 3. 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 3, please.
Yes, sir. 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 3. Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahushua the Yamashiach.
I think we need to read it again.
2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 3. Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier for Yahushua the Yamashiach.
All right, we can conclude there. Now, do we have any questions online from anyone? And then any questions within here? Yes, go ahead.
I'm sorry I blurted that out, but I was just feeling
No,
that.
go ahead, man. Because it's powerful. So we know that we are to endure because we are indeed. Read one more time if you don't mind.
Come. 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 3. Thou therefore endure hardness
Endure hardness. Go on.
as a good soldier.
As a good soldier. You notice the scripture is making us fully aware that you are a soldier.
Come.
You see, this world is trying to make you into some kind of pacified, blip on the side. You are a soldier. We are at war.
Come.
And if you think, because you're living in this land and you haven't been put into an internment center as yet, think again. This whole situation is setting up for that. But you have to know right there and then in your mind that you can endure. Can you endure?
Yes.
Didn't convince me none, but you must be able to endure hardship. And then what does it say?
Oh, the Yamashiach, Yahweh.
Come. For we know that all things work together for the good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose.
Right.
For whom he foreknew, he also did predestinate to be conformed to the image of his Son, that he might be the firstborn among many brethren. Moreover, whom he did predestinate, then he also did call, and whom he called, he also justified, and whom he justified, then he also glorified. What shall we then say to those things? If God be for us, who can be against us?
That's right.
So it's wonderful when you read it, it just resonates in your spirit to let you know who you are. We are more than a conqueror. God?
God.
All right. Any questions from anyone before we continue? Any questions? Before we end? I should say. Go ahead.
Pastor, we look at Romans 8:36 and Psalm 44 and 22. Are we allowed to fight?
Yes, ma'am. And
It
when
seems like we're just supposed to endure whatever they throw at us.
well,
And be,
yeah.
strong enough to endure, but can we fight back?
Yeah. Well, the fighting back will be at a given time. Right now, the Bible tells us that we must endure what's been put before us. Right now, we're going to go through famines. We're going to go through people speaking some things against you and harming you. Now, let's say, for instance, someone tried to accost you. Do you just let them accost you? No. You fight as hard as you can and you knock some people out.
Even if it is Jacob.
Doesn't matter who. Because the Bible says that we have some wicked people among us who are our own. And so, yes, you do what you have to do. But there is going to come a time that as a people, we have to all out fight. But that time is not now. That time is not now. That time is coming, but it is not now. And here's the thing we've got to remember as well. Some of us in here can't fight. Well, be it unto you then. See, some of our people can't fight. And when I say fight, I'm talking about being able to defend yourself in a way that will help to save your life. But if that time comes, you have to be able to do whatever you have to do. You do what you need to do. You don't let the enemy come and just take you. Imagine someone's going to come and take my wife. What am I going to do? Stand up there and look at him? Huh. No. Won't happen.
God.
We happen to be out, and someone's going to accost our brothers. Now we're going to let whosoever know that, please don't. Please back off. But if it got ugly, are we just going to stand there and look? No. We're going to have to do something. You see, I think the world has pacified us into a way that we are weak, and yet they know we are strong. Paul Robeson, who I believe is is the first celebrity. He's the first, what I would call celebrity actor, activist, and all of those, because he was a lawyer. He was the son of a preacher. One of his brothers pastored one of the biggest churches in New York. So he comes from that background, his father and so on. Now, here's the thing that I'm trying to convey to you. he agreed with what Martin Luther King was doing, but he said there was one thing that he did wrong, and that is he did not compel the people to become more militant. And I think everyone who has reviewed that, seen it, knew that that was the one ingredient that was missing. We needed to be more militant. Because then they would have taken us more serious. And then guess what? They wouldn't have set dogs on you. They wouldn't have, the white people would have walked up to us and jumped on our backs and been punching us in our face. And in all the pictures I see like that, and even in the film reels, the black man, who was bigger than those nuns, wasn't fighting back.
And it seemed like in Christianity, they juxtaposed Martin with Marcus Garvey and Malcolm X, who did have military
Exactly,
instincts.
exactly. And the thing is, Malcolm X was saying all the way along, you've got to become more militant. And that is why even today, when we see what those brothers did up in Tennessee, or Memphis, Tennessee, I think it was, where they all came out dressed in their fatigues, black fatigues with their ARs and standing up. You know what? The police didn't turn up. They heard it, they knew what was going on, but they didn't turn up. Why? Because they knew, the police knew, that these people had been through a lot of things, and it was a tinderbox.
Yes.
You just say the wrong thing, and it would be off. So they didn't even turn up. And usually a kid playing with a gun in his front yard gets popped out with 18 bullets or whatever it is. You see? But there, they knew they had enough sense to stay away. And remember that it's our people, we as a people, by the way, and I think I could say this, we're not afraid to die. Oh, we're not afraid to die. You know who's afraid to die in our people? The people who have much. I'm going to leave my Lambo, my 5 and 10, 15 bedroom home, my 20,000 square foot. I'm not going to leave that to a fight. Those are the ones who never fight. But you know the other people, the real people, they've got nothing to lose. And that's what we become. That's what we are right now. And that's why even the enemy realizes that they have to tread very carefully. We're living in those days, they have to tread very carefully. Because you can say the wrong thing. A Caucasian woman came into us yesterday, and she came across and she was talking about the fact that, oh, I knew Martin Luther King and blah, blah, blah. She said, you can see by my white hair and blah, 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 and so on. She was trying to give an oration that she is commiserating our plight. And I said to her, okay, so what do you want? You want a medal for it? So then the conversation went on, and then she was saying some other groups. So I said, well, look, first of all, we are not beneath you. I said, we are above you.
Right.
Your genetic scientist says that, I said, your skin, your hair, means that you have recessive genes. I said, you blue eyes, you've got recessive genes. I said, we don't. We have melanin in our skin. Therefore, we are dominant. All of a sudden, Dustin was standing right next to me. All of a sudden, the conversation just went another direction. Because now she was trying to switch it, as they like to do. And I said, no, by the way, and I wasn't raising my voice, I was speaking very calmly. And I said, by the way, this is your people who have said that. I said, we don't have the scientists in those fields saying that. Your people are saying that. That you have the recessive gene, we have the dominant gene. So we are not beneath you. And all of a sudden now, she switched it over to, oh, why doesn't he smile? I mean, And where does that come from? What's he smiling got to do with the fact that we have a dominant genome? Trying to change the subject. And that's what Esau is notorious to do. When it's not going in their favor, they want to switch it. But when we were dropping it on them, and the one thing that I don't necessarily do too much of, unless I want to confound them, I'm not going to go and waste my time dropping a whole lot of scripture.
Right.
I'll give you some, but I'm not going to give you a whole lot. Why? Because, first of all, the Bible says, cast not your pearls before swine.
That's right.
So, yes, ma'am. That was a long-winded way to answer your question. Any other questions? Anyone else? Anyone else? Anyone else? Sister Wonder, is that your hand going up there? I know. You need to get yourself some melatonin, and you need to have some a good 8 hours sleep. That's what you need to do. I can tell you that from here. All right? Melatonin, natural, pharmaceutical, or homeopathical, I should say, and it will allow you to sleep decently. You need it. Because sleep is crying out to you right now. All right. Yes. All right. Any other questions from anyone else? Do you have any questions online? All right. Now, on the behalf of us, ladies and gentlemen, those of you who have been following us, we thank you again for all that you have done. Again, we want to give a shout out to our brothers that are up in Dallas. If you need a school or a teacher or someone to share and bring the word up with, then we have Officer U in Dallas. His telephone number is on our website, so if you need to contact him there, you can contact him and he will reach out to you. We also have Elder Darrell Fields. He's in San Antonio, Texas. He will be glad to help you out there also. And if we have anyone in the UK who follows us and listens, and you're in the London area, we have Brother Azariah. He will be a great support to you there. We're building up a school there, by the will of Yah. So feel free. And if you're further north, we have Brother Dominic. He's up there. He will be of a great support to you also. So please continue to subscribe, like the video. If there's a teaching that you would need us to particularly break down for you, just send an email and we will break it down and give you the time of the day so that you can feel comfortable with that learning and that understanding. And for those of you that continue to pray for us, continue to pray. Please do that. And especially in this present climate that we're in, the so-called pandemic, we call it the pandemic that Esau has planned. But we believe that all things work together for good. And so even with that, please do keep yourself prayed up. Continue to pray for us. We'll continue to pray for you. And we know that we will come through this. And if we don't meet down here, we will meet on the other side. In the name of Yahweh, Hashem Mashiach Yahushai. So on behalf of myself and also we want to say, Baruch atah Yahweh, Yahweh Hashem Mashiach Yahushai. Salah. Hallelujah.